Hello everybody! Welcome back to Weight Journal. I am the Biffster and I am late, so very late with this update. I don't even have a really good excuse aside from coffee. So, oh man, that coffee needs some stirring. Normally, when I'd been away for a few weeks, it meant that I was having a hard time keeping up with my weight, and I was worried and didn't want to tell y'all or even admit it to myself. Not the case this time. Again, thank goodness. Let me retry this coffee. Much better. Still keeping on. And I mean that a little more literally than normal. I've been stuck at the 289.6 mark for a couple of weeks now. And I think partly I have been giving myself a bit of a roadblock. Got to get through the wood in my head. And it's mostly just seeing that number, 280x, 28x, anything in there. That's where I've always failed before. That's where I could feel myself wanting to get tricked into failing again. Not going to happen. I just have to keep telling myself, get it through that thick skull of mine. Anyway, one thing I wanted to talk about, actually a pretty big one, and that's when it comes to exercise and activity and exercise equipment and the ilk. When I first started getting serious about getting healthy, the end of last year, start of this year, I knew I needed to do something that would force me to get out. And around that time, we got ourselves a dog, and it was a recommendation from my psychiatrist at the time. This person knew the troubles that I had forcing myself to do any type of activity. They also knew my general temperament, in that while I'm not so good at taking care of myself, I'll go above and beyond to take care of somebody else. Or in this case, to take care of something else. And actually it's somebody else. It's our puppy Miles. I like to call him the pain in the ass, but he's actually done a lot of good for me. One thing that I was remembering though, the very first time I ever walked him, got out of the house, put a leash on him, walked him down to the end of our block, stopped, turned around, walked back up to our house. So we're talking maybe 4 minutes total overall between when I got the leash on the dog and when I was taking the leash off the dog. 4 minutes. Pardon my cough. 4 minutes, and that was enough for me. Hopefully I've come a long way since then. 4 minutes shouldn't even seem like anything to me. I shouldn't even want to consider that activity. At the time, though, it was huge. It was a gigantic step up. And let me drink some water so I get rid of this cough. So now about including or adding to, sometimes instead of getting out and going for half-hour, 45-minute walks, I had wanted to add something else. I have been very reticent to buy or to talk about any type of fitness goods, any type of exercise programs or exercise excuse me, equipment or anything like that. Because the same thing always happens. I get going, woohoo, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, yeah. And then I do something once or twice or 3 times and then poof, gone. Never think about it again. Except for up here where I beat myself up for having wasted money again on something that again I didn't do, and blah 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 blah. And this time around, I had really little backtrack here. I'm a big professional wrestling fan. Have since I was a little guy. Got it from my grandpa, got it like it's some type of disease. Got interested in it when I was, I don't know, my grandpa died when I was 9, so earlier than 9. Still a fan 3 decades later. And there's a wrestler by the name of Diamond Dallas Page. He came out with an awesome exercise regime he calls DDP yoga. It's all based off of yoga, but yoga using dynamic resistance. And I'm not going to try and explain that now. I'll put a link, maybe right there, to DDP's website, or DDP Yoga's website. Anyway, when I read the description, when I read the success that other people have had on it, it kind of, this is going to sound stupid, but it rang out to me. It sounded like something I really wanted to do, that I really needed to do. At the time, I couldn't even talk about it without getting emotional. Because at the time, I saw it as my only chance to succeed. My only chance to keep myself from destroying my health to the point where I die early. And so, last month, maybe a month before that, I actually went ahead and I purchased the DDP yoga plan. Read up on it. Took a while for me to actually get the courage up to get started. This, I know, doesn't make sense. I was afraid if I started it, that I would be jinxing it and I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. And so the further off that I put it, the further away the chance of failing at it was. I know, that's me. That's just the way things work in there. So, anyway, over the last couple of weeks, I've been working on DDP yoga, going through, right now I'm still at the very beginner part of the exercises. My point is, I've started working with DDP yoga. I plan on doing it 3 times a week, see how that helps out. Add back in walking and getting that little bit of full motion energy, and it helps, the walks help me keep things straight up there. So I have kind of a whole mind-body thing going on here. Sounds very new age, I know that. Yoga, whole body, holistic. That's kind of how I am. You'll just have to deal with it. Anyway, so that's my updates for now. That was my topic. Getting over being worried about failing with a new exercise regime, and at least giving it a try. I will be back next week for certain, and until then, I hope you all have a good week. Peace.